Are you preparing for CAT and other MBA entrance exams? BYJU'S Exam Prep, CAT and MBA, your one-stop solution for all MBA exams related questions. Watch unique strategies to ace CAT, XAT, SNAP, IIFT, TISNET, CMAT and other important MBA entrance exams. Tips and tricks to boost score, subject-wise and chapter-wise sessions, previous year's questions, exam-related update and notifications, live exam analysis and actual questions discussion. So why wait? Subscribe to BYJU'S Exam Prep, CAT and MBA YouTube channel and press the bell icon to stay updated.
Hi guys, a very good afternoon to one and all. Once again, welcome to a session from BYJU'S Exam Prep. So friends, today's session is about understanding the three sections in CAT 2021 and take a look at historically how CAT has behaved. We have already done this in quite a few sessions, but today I'm going to talk about what topics are sufficient for you to get a 99 percentile. And I have done, if you have attended one or two of my previous sessions, some of it has been covered there, but I'm going to get in a bit more in detail today. So the whole idea is to talk about if there are few topics that you have to prepare, the bare minimum number of topics. What are these topics that you have to prepare section wise to hit your 99 percentile? Okay, so that's what I have in store for you today. Let's move on and take a look at it. So let's start with our English section. Now we already know in English what happened in the last 3 years. So the last 3 years being the last 3 years being 2019. So CAT 2019 total number of questions were 34. It was an older pattern, 2020 and 2021. So if you look at our RC, they were 24. So older pattern out of 34, this was 24 of RC and 10 questions were of verbal logic. Verbal logic basically had 3 or 4 parts. It is para jumbles, para completion, para summary and odd para jumble. Now, in these 4, 3 of them usually are asked. Now, all 4 don't come. They ask 3 of them. So, normally the most common asked questions are para jumbles, para summary and odd para jumbles. Para completion, yes, they have come, but not quite often. And the breakup is also quite, has not been changing too much. In the older pattern, these were 4 para jumbles. Para summary were 3 and odd para jumbles were 3. And RCs, they were totally 24 RCs. Okay, now RCs are also of 2 types. What are the 2 types? So they have 2 types of RCs. One RC is 6 question RC and the other RC is 4 question RC. Sorry, 3 question RC. Okay, so 6 question RC and 3 question RC. So basically if you're looking at 6 question RC, I believe there were 2 of them, so making it 12. Okay, making the total as 12. So 6 2s are 12 and the remaining 12 were coming from here. So 4 RCs of 3 questions each, making it 12. This was the paper pattern in the 2019, which is the older pattern. Now why am I discussing the older pattern? Because this year we still don't know what the pattern is going to be, whether it's going to go back to the older pattern or the newer pattern. So it makes sense always to discuss what happened in 19 and what happened last year. As I kept repeating in many of my sessions, because there is no clarity right now, you should have a grasp on both patterns. Okay. Now within this, if you can notice, usually the RCs were not very difficult. They were not easy either. There always used to be 1 RC, 1 to 2 RCs were easy. So that's about 8 questions. So 6 to 8 questions used to be easy. But the other questions used to be a little bit more trickier. I will not say difficult exactly, but yes, they were not very straightforward either. So one RC passage of 3 questions used to be kind of doable, kind of easy, but otherwise the remaining questions, it was required for you to have a little bit of focus, concentration. The options were a little bit tricky. So that's basically what happened in the last 2 to 3 years also. In fact, if you look at the new pattern, so this is what happened in the older pattern. Now, in older pattern, before we move on to the new pattern, one idea which you need to understand, this has been consistently true, is your para jumbles always, one was easy, one was probably easy or moderate. So in fact, 2 were moderate, 1 used to be difficult. So para jumbles, very, very few students I have come across could get 4 out of 4. No matter how good they are, a large majority of the students could solve 2. If you're really good, 3. 4 was almost impossible. In fact, quite a few of the faculty members used to come out of outside the exam and debate what should be the correct order for the para jumbles. So you need to understand that para jumbles, 1 or 2 should be expected for you to do. Doing 3 means you are at a god level tier already, and doing 4 was more or less impossible, all 4 correct. So there always used to be one para jumble which used to be very, very difficult, and Janta would have got it wrong. Okay. Similarly, para summary, 1 used to be easy, the other 2 used to be moderate and difficult. Similarly, odd para jumbles also used to be quite tricky. In fact, odd para jumbles used to be a bit more trickier than the para jumbles per se. Because in odd para jumbles, you have to understand which of the options is not connecting with the other 4 options. So there will be 5 options given to you. 4 of them will form a sentence, but the 5th option, one of the options will be out of the paragraph. So you have to identify which sentence is out of the passage. So it is not really that straightforward. So the bottom line is verbal logic used to be moderate level. Moderate and moderate above, because out of the 10 questions, about 4 could have been easier, but the remaining 5 to 6 used to be moderate and difficult. So verbal logic used to be on the moderate front normally, whereas the scoring part used to be from the RC. Now this trend did not change. It kept the same, even though the numbers have decreased. If you look at the CAT 2020, and more relevant is CAT 2021, because CAT 2020 pattern was changed from 19. Again, this pattern got changed in 21, and according to my understanding, 21's pattern could continue if they are not going back to the older one. So so this will definitely not come to you now. It is either 19 or 21. That's the way in which it's going to be. The reason why you need to understand is CAT 2020, after the CAT exam was over, when they came to this 21 CAT, the CAT convener made a statement saying that, look, 2020 pattern was lengthy for a 2-hour exam. So because it was lengthy, we are decreasing the number of questions from 2020 pattern to the 2021 pattern. If you notice, English had 8 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2. So that's 26 questions in CAT 2020. But if you look at CAT 2021, 16 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2. So this became 24 questions in CAT 2021. This change was done. The 2 questions in English were decreased. Similarly, in your LRDI, the questions were decreased. In Quant, your questions were decreased. The reason for this decrease, it was very clearly mentioned that the paper became too lengthy for a 2-hour exam, because 2020 was a 2-hour exam. Even 2021 is a 2-hour exam. Keeping 2 hours constant, they reduce the number of questions. Hence, my assumption is if this year the pattern continues, then it will be the 2021 pattern. But let's see what happened in this 2021. You can again clearly see that CAT 2021, totally there were 24 questions in English, out of which 16 were RC and 8 were verbal logic. This 8 was also divided as 3 plus 3 plus 2. What are the 3? Para jumbles is 3, para summary is 3, and odd para jumbles or odd sentence is basically 2. So this is the breakup. Again, last year, this out of these 8, 5 of them were theta. 5 of them were theta questions. So all para jumbles were theta, and I believe 2 of the questions from both these OPGs were theta, whereas para summary was a MCQ. So this was MCQ and this was theta and this was theta. So traditionally, always parajumbles have been theta. Type in the answer. That makes the parajumbles even more difficult, right? Because normally when we learn how to do parajumbles, we learn linking, which two sentences are linked. Therefore is basically should not come in the first, because usually therefore comes after some conclusion. So all this logic we use, we try to eliminate options and we try to be left with only one option, which is the correct one. However, when there are no options given, finding the correct order for all of them and therefore typing in the answer becomes difficult. So if I ask you a question which is, let's say, normal difficulty with MCQ, same question with theta. If a normal difficulty, that is moderate difficulty, is coming under MCQ, same question, if I take out the options, you will actually realize that the question is going to become difficult because there are no options to help you. You can't eliminate options, right? So normally what happens is when you're talking about parajumbles, you will say, okay, A and C to go together, B sentence should come after C. So you'll search for which option has A, C, B in this order. Whichever option does not have it, you'll eliminate. So that way, even if you don't know where should D and E be, that's okay. You search for A, C, B and you'll get your answer. However, that's the problem that you're going to face in theta, because that order is not there for you to eliminate. So you have to fix all 5 statements perfectly. That is the reason why even a moderate level question in your parajumbles end up being a difficult level question in your parajumbles simply because of theta. Okay, now last year the RCs were kind of easier to understand, but if you go through the analysis, that the options in the RCs, what they did last year was they said, okay, I'll make a different kind of a paper this time. The passages will not be difficult for you to understand. The passages will be simple, but the questions will have very, very close options. The questions will have options which are confusing. So that is how they started meddling with, or rather making the RC passage look easy, but the questions were turning out to be difficult. So this was what happened last year in your verbal ability and verbal reasoning section. So what is the takeaway from here? There are 2 things with respect to takeaway. One is in terms of I'll talk about the percentile sometime later. First is the areas that you have to master. Please remember, stop reading things which are interesting to you. If you have already got the hang of reading, this is the time for you to start getting into the very, very boring stuff. Okay, you're talking about things like anthropology, arts and literature, talk about criticism on Shakespeare's work or appreciation of Shakespearean work. First of all, the work itself is difficult for you to read. On top of that, somebody is commenting on it. Those kind of passages which will actually put you to sleep. So that's been the trend lately. So, try to read those kind of passages, because these 6 months that you're left with, this is the time where you need to get into the passages where, they're not very easy to go through. See, if I start talking about, let's say, a passage on sports or a passage on some story, mythology, you might be interested in it. But if I start talking about the technology behind Bitcoin, or the way in which Bitcoin regulations will happen or may not happen, if it is economic based or finance based, you might not even understand. Or let's say you're talking about philosophy, you might not even like it. So get used to such things. So spend more time in these dry areas, dry topics, because you can see that in the last 5 years, every year on an average, one topic has come from this topic of this area of archaeology. One topic has always come on arts and literature. In fact, you can see all these 5s basically means every year one RC is coming from this section without fail on an average. That is the meaning. So if you ask me, please, now this is the time for you to stop reading things which are interesting and take up things which are actually boring for you. Right? So the next 6 months, that's what you need to do as far as your English is concerned. In fact, if you look at the scores required for your English, let's look at both 2019 and 2021. To get your 99 percentile, you want 15 questions correct, perfectly correct. So this 15 actually will become around 17 corrects and 4 to 5 wrongs. So you should be able to attempt 21 questions, guys. Out of 24, you have to attempt 21. That should be your attempt rate. So then you will be in a position to get your 99 percentile. 99 and probably 45 marks or 46 marks. Now, which means your knowledge and your RCs should be very good. You cannot afford to leave even a single RC as far as your attempts go. Yes, you can get errors, but entire RC should be done. Now, the problem with RCs is you have only 40 minutes. You have only 40 minutes and you'll be having 4 to 5 RCs. You can expect around 4 to 5 RCs. Usually students take, if you are weak in English, students end up taking around 10 minutes per RC. Students end up taking around 10 minutes per RC. But what you're supposed to do is, basically if you take 10 into 4, 40 minutes, by 4 RCs your time is up. You can't afford to do that. Your speed of RC should, the speed should increase. The time taken per RC should decrease drastically. You should finish an RC in somewhere like 7 minutes. Then you will be able to spend 30 minutes for your RCs and 10 minutes for your verbal logic. That should be the rate at which you should be hitting. Okay. Tejas is asking, reading RC passages of GMAT. Tejas, if you are able to do RC passages of GMAT, that's the perfect thing. LSAT is also good. So guys, GMAT is one of the best exams that I've come across as far as RCs are concerned. So those of you who are having trouble in RC, I would recommend that, GMAT older versions, official guide, it's called OG, official guide of GMAT. OG versions, older versions are available on the internet for free. Try to download them. And the important thing about OGs is they give very beautiful solutions for RCs. And the solutions, when they talk about, they explain. That is the best part about OG of GMAT. They explain very, very nicely why option A is wrong. What is the reason why option A is wrong? What is the reason why option B is wrong? Similarly, why C is correct and D and E are wrong. GMAT has 5 options. What you need to learn if you are going through the GMAT route to prepare for RCs is, don't just look at why is C correct. Understand the reason that they are very nicely mentioning why the other 4 options are wrong. That is very beautiful, and you have to learn the ability to say why something is wrong rather than just picking up and saying this is right. Okay, that's a very, very nice way of solving RCs. So Tejas, I'm happy you're doing that. So others, if you are able to get your hands on GMAT official guide, please start solving that. That's really good as far as your RCs are concerned. Okay. Now, if you look at CAT 2019, you are supposed to get 21 questions correct out of 34. But again, this is being 100% accurate. Nobody is 100% accurate. So you are expecting around 24 to be right and about 6 to 7 wrong. So you're talking about 31 questions to be attempted out of 34. 31 attempts out of 34 again is not a small task, because you are having only 60 minutes and the RCs in that era, that is a 2 years back exam, were not very small. They were about 450 words to 500 words. By the way, some of you are asking me what should be your RC speed. So your RC speed, now I'll give you a brief idea. Normally when a student starts preparing, when I say normal student, a student who's not used to reading books, not used to reading anything except your school books or college books, such a student will have anywhere between 120 to 150 words per minute. This is the speed of an RC. 120 to 150 words per minute usually is what happens. Now this is the speed which when they read something which is good for them. If I give you a topic which is very dry, this will fall down to around 100 to 110 words per minute or 120 words per minute. So something interesting will go up to 150, something very dry, very boring goes to about 100 words per minute. That is normally what happens when a student is just started preparing. Now, this ideally should go up to a level of 300 words per minute. Bare minimum should be 250 words per minute. This should be your target. Anything less than 250 words per minute, your speed is very, very slow, which means you will end up taking the time taken for you to solve the questions will be more than 40 minutes. Right? So you cannot complete the paper in that given time. So your target should be to go above 250 per minute. If it is touching 300, then you are in the safe zone. For example, people who have been reading a lot in their life, from childhood you have the habit of reading, their speed per minute, the number of words they can read and understand. Remember guys, it's not just reading. Blind reading anybody can do without understanding. I'm talking about reading and comprehension, which means if I give you 2 minutes and ask you to read 600 words, can you explain to me simply what has happened in the 600 words? I'm not asking you to reproduce everything, but comprehension means, can you tell me what did you read in the 2 minutes without losing the essence of the passage? That is what is meant by reading at 300 words per minute. So many people can read what is coming in front of them very, very quickly, but they will not be able to retain it. So people who read a lot, they are also able to finish the sentence quite faster in terms of reading, also understand while you're reading very, very quickly. So reading and comprehension together should be touching your 300 words per minute. So people who are used to reading, they already when they start the preparation, they're already at the 200 words per minute. With a little bit of preparation, they'll easily go to the 300 words per minute. So that is the difference between people who did not start reading or don't like reading in their life versus people who have been reading throughout their life. They're already halfway done. And speed is the most important part for your RCs, as you can see, because more than 60% of the paper, or at least you can say 60% of the paper is your reading comprehension. So if you want to get this, you cannot get these scores without your RCs. That's the bottom line. You can't get these scores without getting really good score in your RC. Right, so the most important part if you're preparing for your VARC is basically reading and reading with speed and comprehension. So please make sure that you dedicate at least 30 minutes to 45 minutes every day on 3 to 4 articles, and not the sports articles, not the masala articles. Take articles which are published in New York Times or Guardian, any of these papers which are available to you online, and read the passages which are from varied areas. They give you section wise, so they'll give you an article on some element of life. Read about it. It might take you more time, that's okay, but get the habit of reading things which are not very straightforward. Okay, so that's as far as your English goes. Let's go ahead and take a look at DILR. Now here, DILR, when we did this analysis, in fact in the last classes that I mentioned, the questions in the old pattern 2018-19, we always had 32 questions total. You can see 20 plus 12, 20 of your logical and 12 of your DI, 24 and 8, 24 of your LR and 8 of your DI. In fact, the trend you will notice is the DI number of questions have been decreasing and more questions have been coming through the logic side. Now what is DI exactly? DI is pure calculation based questions. So basically a graph or a table with information. Pure information of numbers in a table or pure information of numbers in a graph. And the question will be talking about, okay, from year 1999 to year 2000, what is the percentage increase, percentage decrease, which of the following products had only increase in sales, which of the following products is always an alternate increase and decrease in sales, and so on and so forth. Calculation based. These questions are called as pure DI. But you can see the trend has been that the number of pure DI questions started coming down and the number of logic questions have been increasing. Okay, in fact last year, that is 2021, saw 8 questions from pure DI, whereas there are 12 questions from logic. So it is not an equal split anymore. If you go back to 2016 or 2015, the split used to be kind of equal. You used to get at least 3 to 4 sets from LR and 3 to 4 sets from your DI. But over the last 3-4 years, you can see that it is skewed towards logic. They are saying that calculations are anyway there for your maths. In maths, I'll make you calculate a little. There's no point in giving you calculations there also and calculations here also. Percentages ka question mein वैसे भी वहाँ पे पूछने वाला हूँ. What's the point of asking me percentage questions once again here? So let me ask you questions which are related to logic in the DILR section. 1 or 2 sets I will give you on DI also, but then the bulk of it will be on your non-DI, so non-calculation or logic-based questions. So that is how they have changed in the last 3 to 4 years. And let's take a look at what is the percentile requirement. If you're again looking at this coveted 99 percentile, you just needed 11 corrects. If you look at in the older model, you needed something around 18 corrects. 18 3s are 54, I believe. 8 3s are 24, yes. So 18 corrects. So basically this is about 20 corrects and about 4 to 5 wrong. So you're talking about 25 question attempts in the older pattern. In the new pattern, you wanted 11 correct, which means you're talking about 13 corrects and about 4 to 5 wrong. So you're talking about 17 to 18 attempts out of 20. So it's not an easy task to get a 99 percentile in your DILR without knowing logic. Your logic questions have to be pretty decent. Okay? Sorry, this is 33, this is 11, right? 11 plus 4 or 5. So yeah, 15 to 16. 15 to 16, yeah. So you're supposed to get 15 to 16 attempts and 3 to 4 mistakes. Therefore, giving you a total of 12 to 13 corrects, 3 to 4 mistakes, you'll end up getting 34, 35 marks, which is a 99 percentile. So it is impossible for you to score this, get this without LR. And also the other thing you need to keep in mind is these questions, DI, are always been easy. These have always been easy. In fact, the trend we have observed is every year the DI questions, 1 to 2 sets, whatever they get, they are turning out to be easy. These are a must do. So these themselves will give you 6 to 8 questions. They are dead easy. They are sitters, right? So while that paper of DILR is scary to many of you, what you need to understand is there are 6 to 8 questions which are easy, which are calculation based and from DI. These should be attempted by everyone with almost 100% accuracy. There is no reason why you should be making a mistake. And the other thing we also observed every year is at least one easy set from the logic. At least one easy set from the logic, which means you're talking about 10 to 11 questions being easy. 10 to 11 questions being easy. Now, the problem is, because you wanted to get a total attempts of around 15 to 16, so you have to, out of this 10, you took 2 DI which are easy. Let us assume you've cracked them, and the 1 easy LR you have finished. So all your easy questions are over. Now, to reach that 99 percentile, to reach that 15 to 16 attempts, you have to crack one more logical reasoning set, which is not easy anymore. So the problem is lying for many students in that last set which one to pick. Quite a few students are able to do this. So 5, 6, 7 corrects people are getting happily, which means people are able to get anywhere between 15 to 21 marks very easily without too much of a problem. The problem is going from 21 marks to 33. देखने में 12 mark है. It's only 12 marks. But that journey is turning out to be very painful because you have a total of only 40 minutes. And to do this 15 to 21, so basically you're talking about these 15. So solving 2 sets of DI, students are ending up spending somewhere like 15 to 20 minutes. So आधा time तो DI में चला गया. Now you're talking about 20 minutes left. एक easy logic करना है, and you have to pick one logic set which is not easy but moderate. That is where the problem is coming in, because DI it's easy. I can see a graph and I can start saying that even if I know in 2022 exam DI easy आने वाला है, मुझे ढूंढने में काफी आसानी से मैं ढूंढ सकता हूँ, because I can see pie chart मिल गया, graph मिल गया, जो भी table मिल गया, numbers है, I'll start with it because I know it's a DI. So identification of DI is not a problem. The problem is turning out to be in identifying your logical reasoning, because all logical reasoning sets you can't just see and say that okay this is the easy set. तो आपको पहले पढ़ के 2-3 मिनट सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा, and it does not come with the heading saying that यार ये easy है. DI more or less is coming that way because we know the trend that DI is always easy. So calculation based question के लिए ग्राफ ढूंढ लो आप, ग्राफ मिल गया आपका, सॉल्यूशन खत्म, मतलब सेट फाइंडिंग इज ओवर, सेट हंटिंग खत्म हो गया आपका. The problem comes in LR. Now all LR sets do not come with a particular heading which saying that this is easy or moderate. आपको घुस के solve करके at least try करके पता करना पड़ेगा कि is it easy or is it difficult. That is where the problem comes. And what happens usually is even if students are able to finish the 10 questions, okay, just a moment. Yeah, even if students are able to finish the 7 to 8 questions in 15 minutes, the remaining 25 minutes, you are supposed to pick 2 LR sets. Picking of the sets is where the problem is turning out to be for the students, because you pick a wrong set and you spend 10 minutes on it, over 10 minutes you spent on a wrong difficult set, आपके पास बचे क्या है अभी 15 minutes. Now in this 15 minutes you are still supposed to do this 2 RCs, 2 LRs. You are nervous now, you know you have wasted 10 minutes. Your nerves are, you are not able to keep up your calm, and things last 15 minutes will go waste, more or less. So the students, the biggest challenge for the students is picking the set. So this is what you should learn over the last 3 years papers of CAT. So trust me guys when I say this, अगर मैं mark करके दूं कि यार ये 3 set करो, I'm pretty sure quite a few of you will do it because I'm picking up the easy sets and giving it to you. The problem comes if I mix these 3-4 sets which are easy in a total of 7 or 8 sets or 6 or 7 sets. The problem is identifying which of the logic ones, DI फिर भी कर सकते हो, which of these logic ones are the easy set for me to pick up. So one of my advice to a lot of you students who are preparing is, यार theory और set solve करना एक बात है. The other thing which you must practice is set picking. How do you identify an easy set? That is an art. Trust me when I say this, it's an art. Okay, just like people identify stocks to invest in. How do you invest in a new stock which nobody knows about? It's an art. Similarly, here you have to invest your time in a question which others are not able to pick. Now, this ability to pick is what you need to learn, and we are going to conduct sessions from BYJU'S exam prep on various aspects of identifying a set. So if you have not subscribed to our channel or not click on our notification button, please do that, and please do like the video right now because we have a lot of these sessions, especially LRDI पे focus करते हुए we are taking up the idea, we are taking up sessions on how do you identify a set, how do you leave a set. What are the things which will tell you that it's a red alert, is pe chuna mat? What are the things which will basically give you a green signal saying that try to attempt this set? How do you pick these things up? We are going to do separate sessions on that. Okay. So let's take a look at what type of questions, what are these type of questions that have come in the last last two sessions that I've taken. Students have asked what is a reasoning based question, what is a scheduling and matrix based question. So what I did this time is, instead of, so this I've already discussed what are the top 5-6 areas. So I don't want to reiterate this. You can see one of my previous videos. However, what I did today is give you some examples for you to understand what is called as a reasoning based set. So a reasoning based set का मतलब क्या है? If you notice, reasoning based set 5 साल में 10 आए हैं, which means every year you're looking at 2 such questions, 2 such sets, sorry, not questions, which means each set will about have 4 questions on an average. So you're talking about 4 to 8 questions every year coming from this particular reasoning based DI. इसमें होता क्या है? What exactly happens in this? So typically, reasoning based DI is not exactly a DI where the full chart or the full table is given to you. This is a form of reasoning where some information is missing and some information is given. It is not pure calculation. This is a kind of a table based question where some information is always missing. Okay. So to get that missing information, they will give you some conditions and some extra information. Okay. Now using this extra information, your job is to solve for the rest of the table. Right. So this is typically called as reasoning based DI because ये mindless calculation नहीं है. इसमें थोड़ा दिमाग लगा के आपको calculate करना चाहिए कि वो missing data में क्या हो सकता है. And these questions will have very simple calculation. आप एक बार logic पकड़ेंगे तो the remaining part will be very easy. The problem here is catching hold of the logic. Okay. There will be very less calculation. If you want an example, please go to this smoothie set of CAT 2021 set slot 1. So search for, I'm sure you all have the papers with you right by now. CAT 2021 में slot 1, morning slot, search for a set which is on smoothies. So there is somebody, Gayatri or some girl, who's making smoothies from a smoothie machine, vending machine. So इसके ऊपर एक set है. This is the perfect example for you to understand that it is a reasoning based DI. Okay, last time students were asking me to give examples कि sir ये क्या, इसका क्या मतलब है, कैसा होता है इसमें. So this time today I made I've gone through the last year's papers and I've picked examples. So you can note this down, go back, Google it up and take the set, take a look at it. You'll understand what do I mean by a reasoning based set. Obviously I did not put the entire set here because then I had to give you 2-3 minutes to just read the set. There's no point because I'm not solving the set right now. But हाँ, ये example दिया हूँ मैं ताकि आपको समझ में आ जाए कि what is your reasoning based DI. Similarly, if you look at the next kind of question, this is reasoning हो गया, this is matrix. So this is matrix based. Okay, so what is this matrix based question? So matrix based questions, basically there are 2 or 3 parameters involved. Now what do I mean by this? So I can talk about 5 students wearing 5 different color shirts belonging to 5 cities. So the question talks about Ram is not wearing a white color and he is from Hyderabad. Shyam is wearing a brown color and he is not from Pune. So there will be information given to you. So each dimension, this is called as a parameter. This is a parameter of students' name. Student names is a parameter. Colors, the 5 colors is a group of parameter. 5 cities is a parameter. So your job will be to map student, color and city correctly based on the information given. So the best way to solve these kind of questions is you draw a grid. You will say student A, student B, student C, student D. Then you'll talk about white color, red color, brown color, pink color and green color. And you try to map A is not wearing white, A is wearing a blue, B is not wearing red, B is not wearing pink. So information will be given like this. So you try to map person to the color. Similarly, you will also have 5 cities. So who is from which city? So it might mention that the person wearing green color is not from Hyderabad, which means whoever is green, if I say C is green, then C is not from Hyderabad. So this is the 3rd parameter you're trying to link. So such kind of questions could be either 2 parameters or 3 parameters. If I want to make it a bit more difficult, I can go for 4 parameters also. So there's a particular way of solving it which we will take up separately anyway in our DILR sessions. But the whole idea is these kind of questions, being able to form this 2 by 2 grid or a 3-dimensional or 3 parameter table, that's basically the ability to learn and solve that. That's what they have checked consistently. You can see that there were 6 sets in fact 6 plus 6. So both these scheduling matrix and matrix arrangement are similar. So basically you're talking about 12. So 12 questions on 12 sets over 5 to 6 years. So you're talking about more than 2 sets per year coming your way. Right, so this is something which you have to be aware of. This is something that you should practice if you are really looking at cracking that 99 percentile in your DILR. Okay, so this is basically typically solved by drawing a grid. That's what I showed. That's how you solve it. If you want 2 examples, I have put in 2 examples here. Slot 1 में एक question आया था research paper and journals. So there is a question which talks about 18 research papers that were published. So that comes under parameter based mapping. And there's one more last year CAT 2021 में slot 2 में आया था ये, which was online food delivery company. So somebody is working in an online food delivery company. This is another example. You can note these down, try to solve them. You'll understand what I mean by grid based questions or matrix based questions. Alright, so that's something that you need. These are the kind of questions that you have to practice. Similarly, there is something called as matrix grid, which is different slightly from the previous one. So this also is a grid, but what I'm talking about here is different. यहाँ पे क्या grid होता है? This basically they'll say, okay, Sudoku is a perfect example. So they basically give you a 3 by 3 grid or 2 by 2 grid or a 4 by 4 grid. So basically here, it's not about parameters. So basically they are saying that there are cells. Each one is a cell. So one question, if I can remember, that came was a cell. So I'm writing numbers 1, then 2, 3, 4. So 1 is written by, or the adjacent numbers of 1 was 2, 3, 4. Now, how many digits do I need? So I remember this question particularly from 2020 or 2019 paper CAT. So question ये था कि 4 by 4 grid लिया मैंने. In that I am writing numbers, and the question is minimum digits that I have to use such that no 2 numbers are adjacent to each other, which means 1 should not have 1 again in these 3 places. 1 and 1 should not be touching. In this way, if I have to fill this grid, how many digits do I need? Do I need digit 1, 2, 3, 4? तो चाहिए. Now, do I need more than 1, 2, 3, 4? Do I need a digit 5 also or not? For example, if I write 1 here, 1, 2, 1, 3, I can write 4 here. Then what can I write? I can write 2 here, I can write 3 here. So if you can notice, I filled up 8 cells where no two numbers are touching each other. No two same numbers are touching each other. Now can I fill the rest of them also in the same way with only 1, 2, 3, 4? Which means only 4 digits are required. I don't need 5 digits. But if I increase this 4 by 4 to a 5 by 5, can I still do it with only 4 digits? That is the question. So such questions are called as pure grid based questions. So इसमें parameters नहीं होते हैं. There is something happening within each cell. These type of questions also have come quite decently. On an average, one set per paper आ रहा था in the last 4 to 5 years. This is the kind of questions. Again, you can see there is 2019 slot 2 में ये question था. 3 pouches were placed in a 3 by 3 grid, something to do with the number of coins in each pouch is nothing but a small bag, number of coins in each bag. So that base kind of a question. So take a look at it, you'll understand this better. And the best example is Sudoku, filling of a Sudoku. If you notice, Sudoku is just numbers with a rule. Similarly, grid based questions, matrix grid based questions are those questions where you're trying to fill the cell, where the numbers or alphabets that you're filling there will follow a particular rule. Okay, so that's the kind of question that I'm talking about. This is what you need to practice. So look at it. In DILR, what are the type of questions? One is reasoning based DI. Practice these kind of questions. The other is matrix based mapping. That is, 2 parameter or 3 parameter mapping. Then you're talking about matrix grid type questions. And the fourth type of questions which you have to practice is games and tournaments. In games and tournaments, there are 2 types. One is conventional and the other is unconventional. Conventional games and tournaments क्या होता है? Conventional are your knockout series, typically saying that okay, 128 people are participating in a knockout tournament, right? So there are people ranked 1 to 128, let's say in a tennis tournament. Then first series of match or group 1, not group 1, sorry. The first set of matches are between 64 and 64. So 128 hai na? So you have to map 1 versus 1. So 64 versus 64. So you'll basically have rank number 1 playing with rank number last rank, which is 128. Rank number 2 playing with rank 127 and so on and so forth. They'll give you the condition which rank is playing with which rank. So this will become the round 1. Let's call it as round 1 matches. So round 1 mein, because it is a 1v1, ek banda haar jayega, ek banda jeetega. So always it's going to be 128 becoming 64 at the 64 matches. So 64 people will remain, 64 people will get eliminated. So such kind of questions are called as knockout based questions. You would have seen enough number of them. This is called as a conventional, very traditional, very well known type of question. The other type of question that come under conventional games and tournaments is there's a round robin league. There is an IPL league in which there are 8 teams. Each team plays with another team exactly once. What happens when this person or team A lost to team B but it won against team C, and so they'll give you partial information. आपको पूरा points table बनाना होगा based on the partial information. That is one type of question. The other type of question they talk about is, if assuming that this is a round robin league again, if each win gives you 2 points, each draw gives you 1 point and a loss gives you 0 points, what is the minimum matches that somebody can win and go to the next round? What is the maximum matches that somebody can win and still not go to the next round? And so on and so forth. That kind of questions are playing around with the points. Such questions are basically going to be coming under your round robin point based questions. Then the third thing is your matchstick games. Birthday party mein games hote hain, where I will pick a matchstick anywhere between 1 to 5 matchsticks. You can also pick anywhere between 1 to 5 matchsticks. The person who picks the last matchstick wins. So such kind of questions. So all these are well-known kind of questions. These are called as conventional games and tournaments. You have to practice them. Then there are unconventional games and tournaments. The best example is there is a high-low game in CAT 2020 slot 3. So check it out. So that's basically, so unconventional mein kya hota hai? Any game, any new rule. There is, so everything else except what is well known is going to come under, unconventional. So I can give you a new game, completely invent a new game and give you a new set of rules. And the question has to be answered based on that. So practice the games and tournament sets as much as you can, because this is the fourth most important topic. There's one more topic which I did not mention here because I'm sure all of you know this. So that topic is basically your Venn diagrams. Always one set of Venn diagrams have appeared on an average for the last 5 years. So do not neglect your Venn diagrams, 2 by 2 Venn diagrams or 3 Venn diagrams. Please practice them. Okay, this is typically these kind of questions have been coming. So these are the top 5-6 type of questions you should practice in DILR to make sure that you get your 99 percentile without fail. Okay, then if you move on to the quant part, last part of the discussion. Quant also has seen older pattern, had 34 questions, 2020, 26, but this is irrelevant to us right now. More relevant is what happened last year. So this could be a possibility or this could be a possibility in the CAT 2022. So now what happened in these 22 questions or 34 questions, how was a quant paper? Normally quant paper, they don't give very difficult. They can give moderate level. They can give easy to moderate or moderate level. Usually they don't give it very difficult. I'll tell you what happens. You always DILR, it is always VARC first, then DILR, then your quant. DILR normally is moderate and above. So by the time you finish your second section, you are coming with a very heavy loaded brain into quant. So even an easy question or a moderate level question for quant, you'll end up finding it to be difficult. The problem with quant is you are already exhausted with your DILR section. So this is where we keep telling students, write mocks. The purpose of a mock is not to say that, sir, mera sab kuch khatam ho gaya, abhi main mock likhunga. That is not the purpose of a mock, for you to finish everything and start. The purpose of your mock is to make you sit for the 2 hours or 3 hours with focus, without losing focus, with attention. Right? Think only about the exam. Can you overload your brain and come to the third section and still perform? That is the purpose of your mock. It is not just for you to say, sir, mera topic khatam ho gaya, so I'll start my mock, ya mera preparation khatam ho gaya, then only I'll start my mock. If that is the case, your preparation will keep going on till August or September for that matter. Then you'll start writing your mocks in September, October. It's not really good enough. You need at least 5 to 6 months of mock preparation. So please start writing your mocks right now, because a lot of people who hit this fatigue, you get your fatigue in the quant section because English ne aapka dimag chaat liya hai, DILR screwed up your mind, and then you're finally there with your quant. Quant is supposed to be easy on your mind, but then because the last 2 sections were so horrible, by the time you come to quant, even the easy questions will take more time for you. But that is what you need to get through. You have to practice, endure. Learn the endurance to sit through for about 2 hours or 3 hours without losing attention. Anyway, so let's take a look at what are these marks required for us to get a 99 percentile. Here in quant, you need somewhere 12 questions correct, which means in the last year's pattern, that is 12 questions correct means 14 corrects and about 4 to, in fact, quant you should not make too many mistakes, so 3 wrongs. So 14 corrects, 3 wrongs will give you a 36 to 38 score. Okay, so you're getting a 99 percentile with 14 plus 3. So you're talking about totally 18 attempts out of 22. 18 attempts out of 22. Keep that in mind. If it is the older pattern, CAT 19, so here you need 21 questions correct, which means around 23 corrects and 5 to 6 wrong. So you're talking about 28 out of 34. This is the hit rate that you need. So this is the number of questions you need to attempt. Let's take a look at what sections or what areas in maths will help you get there. Remember, if it is an older pattern, it is 28 questions attempt. If it is a newer pattern, it is 14. So 18 out of 22. That's what you need to attempt. So if you look at it, in the CAT 2019, 25 to 28 questions so आपको arithmetic or algebra से ही मिल जाएगा. So the point is, whether it's an old pattern or new pattern, if you look at your CAT new pattern, you get around 16 to 17 questions from your arithmetic and algebra itself. So if you remember, you needed total 16 to 17 or 18 questions here to attempt totally. Here you needed 28 questions to attempt to get a 99 percentile. You cannot get these by leaving any of these. You cannot leave these. These are mandatory. Arithmetic and algebra, mandatory. These will give you almost 80% of what you need. This will give you at least 80% of what you need. Baki 20% will come from either geometry, numbers or modern math, or some questions which are miscellaneous. Miscellaneous means not fitting into any of these. So the whole idea is get 80 to 90% of your requirement from these two areas, arithmetic and algebra. बाकी 10-15% जो है, try to get it from the all other areas put together. In fact, that's what I've been doing for the last so many years. Personally, I hate geometry. So what I do is I maximize my score in arithmetic and algebra. In fact, when I write my CAT mock, I can test for the last so many years. I've done that test for myself. Usually, I attempt almost all of arithmetic and all of algebra. I'll probably leave one odd question जो समझ में नहीं आता है, कभी-कभी ये strike नहीं होता इस time पे. But usually, I attempt almost everything here, get maximum score here, because I know that geometry I'm leaving out 3-4 questions easily. So at best एक question करता हूँ मैं geometry से. So I do at best 1 question from geometry. Whenever I do 2 questions from geometry, I feel very happy because I know that's my weak area. And I try to make sure that my numbers and modern math, by testing with the options or theory, whatever is required, I try to do it. So the strategy for me is this: keep it strong. One of these you can be weak, that is okay. And the other two should give you 1-1-2-2 questions to hit your 28 figure or to hit your 18 figure, depending upon the paper pattern. Tejas, quant GMAT is not good enough. Okay, please remember guys, those of you who are preparing for GMAT English, or rather English from GMAT, that is very good for your verbal section of CAT also. However, when it comes to maths, your GMAT maths is very easy compared to your CAT maths. So the level that you prepare for GMAT for CAT is for quant is not enough for your CAT. CAT में अगर आपको quant crack करना है तो GMAT से काफी ऊपर जाना होगा. Alright, Tejas? Alright, so guys, these are the basic essentials which I wanted to discuss about. Going forward, more or less strategy sessions अभी हमारे खत्म हो ही गए हैं. We are not going to do too many strategy sessions anymore. But what we're going to do going forward in the other sections, or rather other sessions, is take up the area of logic and give you questions. Talk about how to attack a problem, take a problem and make you solve it. Similarly, take quant questions, show you how to pick the right question and what is the best way to solve it. And same thing with RC. Right, so that's what we have in store in the coming session. So please do click on the notification button. I'll see you again guys. Thanks a lot and all the best in your preparation.